Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Powerful on Purpose podcast, where we talk to women making waves in their business and using their voices to create change in the world. And I am your host, Leslie Cap. Super excited to introduce our guest today, Becky Hancock. And Becky is a founder of the 𝐈𝐧 method. We're going to find out what that is, helping coaches gain online visibility and use that to generate profits with their online presence. Now, who doesn't want more of that, right? So welcome, Becky.
Hi, Leslie.
How's it going today?
Very busy, but awesome.
Well, I was like, that's a great way for a Tuesday, right?
Yep.
So, is there a story or a moment that you see led into what you're doing now currently? And maybe start there. Like, tell us a little bit of what the 𝐈𝐧 method is and kind of what you do for predominantly coaches.
Okay. Well, I've been in this business for nearly 30 years now. My career has seen a lot of transitions. I started out as a graphic designer, quickly transitioned into web design. I taught myself how to code. I worked as a front-end web programmer for many years. Kind of got sick of the business world. I got sick of chasing clients, sick of chasing, money after the work was done. So I decided I was going to go back to school and become an educator. So I did that. I got a master's degree in user experience design. I have been teaching online user experience students for the last 10 years, mainly adult students through boot camps. That industry dried up after the pandemic, which led me to what I do now. So again, I'm working as a full-time designer on my own terms, because if I'm going to have to reinvent myself at 50, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
There you
So
go.
rather than to jump back in the hamster wheel of working in tech again, I decided to start my business, and I founded the 𝐈𝐧 method based on those 30 years of experience of what I know works to get small businesses up and running online and getting conversions off of their websites.
Right. So when you talk about being a designer and like what specifically can you help people with or do you help people with?
So the 𝐈𝐧 method includes targeted market research on whoever their dream client is. We start there. That's the foundation of absolutely everything. I am a firm believer in no business decision, no design decision should be made unless there's research to back up that decision. So like I said, it's the foundation of everything. From there, we develop all of the messaging and content strategy, followed by branding and graphic design collaterals. And we finish it up with a website and a marketing kit so that whoever my client is, can get up and running in just 5 days.
Yeah, I think that's unusual, right? That's not something I've heard out other places in the marketplace is that 5-day turnaround. And why do you feel like that's important for not only you but for other people, for your clients?
Well, that idea was birthed out of pain points that came from previous versions of my freelance career. So, like I said, I got sick of chasing the money after the sale. I got sick of, juggling 15 to 20 projects or clients at any given moment. Things would fall through the cracks. Everybody would be upset about it because it's just too many balls in the air. So I decided I would focus on one person at a time, and I would dedicate my entire week to that one client, and they would have everything they needed by the end of the week. And, a typical web design studio, you might be waiting months for a website. I've even had clients take years to get their websites done because there's no set timeline for when things are due and when you're expecting feedback from them. So with my 5-day timeline, my clients know exactly when they're going to hear from me. I know exactly when I need to hear back from them, and I communicate that. And that way everything gets done in a very timely manner, and it's, alleviates a lot of pain points on both sides.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I think it's genius. And I know people too who've waited months into a year to get a website built. But you're right. When the buck stops with you, right? Then you really can control that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So what are you doing right now that's really got you fired up in your business?
So right now I have turned my method done for you package into an academy. So I actually have a 5-week course that I'm launching next Tuesday. And for anybody that wants to learn those 5 parts of the SEEN method, which is the targeted market research, the content strategy, messaging, graphic design, visual design, website building, and marketing, I'm teaching that over the course of 5 weeks. And they can join the class, and it starts next Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah. And I'm guessing when people are do-it-yourselfers or want to save a little on money, that would be an awesome. Still, that's probably less than the time it'd take you to have somebody else build it, the website, and do all
Right.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So what shift do you see happening out in the online space, and how are you adjusting to that?
So there's a lot of noise. I serve mostly female coaches, and there are no shortage. You know, all of you have very specific, narrow niches that you deal with and specific methods that you employ in order to help people, which I think is super interesting. But there's still a lot of noise. Like, how do you separate? How does one life coach separate themselves from another? Same thing with business coach, executive coach, whatever it is that you do. Separating yourself basically comes down to clarity, who you are as a person and who you want to serve, and the exact methods that you use and employ in order to serve your niche. So I think being super focused and super clear on those things will bring about authenticity. And authenticity is essentially what's going to separate you from the herd.
Right? It's funny. I did a podcast yesterday and we talked about that very same thing, right? About being authentic and showing up however and whoever you are. Yeah. So it's interesting that we're all sort of seeing that happening at the same time.
Mhm.
How has that impacted how you do business at all? Or made things like
Yeah.
more
So,
clear?
I mean, the more clear you are on who you are and who you want to serve, the easier marketing gets. So I serve a very narrow audience, and all of my messaging is directed towards them. It makes content creation super easy, whether you're writing blogs or posts or creating videos or voice messages. It just becomes super clear and super easy to do. It's no longer overwhelming to market yourself if you really, really are clear on those things.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great point, right? That the clearer we get, so many things really fall into line and do get easier. So
Mm-hmm.
if we were to have this conversation 12 months from now, what would you want your business to look like?
So I would like to have my course be evergreen and to be filled with, I limit it to about 12 to 15 seats for each cohort. I would like each cohort to be filled, and I would like the course to be evergreen, meaning, former students referring new students into the class, to hopefully reach as many people as I can with my SEEN method, because it does work really well to build a highly converting online presence.
All right. Yeah, that's awesome. And what would be the biggest challenge to getting to that vision?
I think just being seen myself, getting that visibility, getting myself known out in the world. I didn't launch this version of my business very long ago, and I think I'm not really well known yet. I have had several clients so far. It's worked very well. It's been very successful. But getting to the point where, I'm generating referrals from existing clients or past clients, I think that would be a really lovely thing to see happen.
Right. Yeah, that getting seen to share seen.
Yes.
I always gotta mess that up, right? And
Right.
you knew I would ask this one, so I do know Becky, so it's not off the wall. She'll recognize us. But tell us about, because when I first met with her, the wallpaper has monkeys. I don't know if you can clearly see, but she has monkeys on her wallpaper. I was so
Mhm.
intrigued with that. Like, I think I stopped the conversation and said, "You gotta tell me about the monkeys on the wallpaper."
So the monkeys on the wallpaper, I needed a whimsical background for Zoom because, like I said, I have been educating adult students online for the last 10 years, teaching them my set of skills. And they would frequently come to me, in tears, totally stressed out, overwhelmed, very much in need of a therapist or a coach or a cheerleader or whatever it was that they needed from me in that any given moment. And I felt like that the fun and whimsical wallpaper would be something that they could look forward to seeing because it's bright, it's cheerful, um, and it became a symbol of like a safe space for them that they could really know, like, okay, this is my time. I can let it all out. I can get everything fixed right here. So it just became a visual reminder to my students, and like this is what we're here to do, and I'm I'm going to cheer you up, and I'm going to make you feel better before this call is over.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And my slant was thinking that that safe place that we could release our monkey mind, all the
Yeah.
stuff that's going on that, oh, I should do that. And I guess is kind of what we're talking about too, that not only that visibility, but that overwhelm, right? Of what I should and shouldn't do, and following all these different people that don't have systems that align with who we are.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one thing that's working really well in your business right now?
So I'm super excited to have just set up a CRM. I won't say which one, but it automates so many systems and it takes so much pressure off of me, with remembering to do all the follow ups, remembering to do the posts, because it's all completely automated now. And I
Right.
cannot recommend, getting that stuff set up enough. Like automate as many of those sort of nagging tasks that you have to do on a daily basis to just set your mind free and allow yourself to focus on the things that you really love the most, which for me is connecting with other people. I do a lot of connecting with other people online, networking. I do a lot of outreach. I meet with a lot of strangers on the internet every single day of the week. And that's the part of my job that I enjoy the most.
Right.
So having all of the other stuff pushed off to the side, but being done, and having that system in place, I absolutely love it. Completely frees my mind and my time.
Right. Right. Well, we'll have to have a convo afterwards, and you can share what you're using. So
Mhm. Sure.
yeah. And then what is something that frustrates you or you might be looking for a solution to?
I think what frustrates me the most out of owning a business again is the sales process. Um, Learning, like I learned how to sell before, but like it was pre-pandemic and those techniques never don't work any longer. So I think just a different world, and it's something that I have to adapt my sales process to. And I think that once I master the changes and understand exactly how people like to be approached these days, um, I think it'll get better. But that's definitely a pain point for me.
Sure. And I think for women in general, right? So many times, and there's still so many dudes that are still teaching the old school car
Mhm.
salesman. Yeah, somebody was just telling me the other day, and actually it's funny because I knew exactly who this person was. And the high pressure getting you on the call, and then you think it's just a connection call and it's a sales call, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Not to say that we would do that, but I think there's so many instances of that where we see examples, right? And not as many, the better, or more human type sales. Let's just call it that.
Right. Yeah,
Right? Where we're connecting with people. Um,
exactly.
yeah. So what advice would you give to, um, I'm trying to go, so either somebody who's thinking about a website, and or somebody who's maybe just getting online, where what's your gold nugget for somebody just starting out, or maybe feeling overwhelmed about how to undertake all this online stuff?
So I think displaying credibility is the most important thing. You need to have testimonials from people that you've worked with in the past, whether they're clients or former coworkers, or it really doesn't matter. When you're starting out, you just need some testimonials from anybody who will give them to you. And eventually, hopefully, they will all be from clients, but you need to develop credibility very quickly. In order to do that, um, you can definitely post those things on social media, but they tend to disappear and get lost in your feed. So the one thing I would recommend is having a digital home, which would be your website. It's the place where, people are going to find everything that you are about, and hopefully you'll display that credibility in a very prominent way, and, you know, and then that will compel people to want to reach out to you. The question I hear a lot, well, is a website even important anymore? Because when, I'm like, well, what's the one thing people do before they work with you? They Google you. They're going to go to your LinkedIn profile or your link tree. They're going to find a link to your website, and they're going to read all about you. And your digital home is that website, and that is where that you can really shine and show everybody what you're about, how you help people that you want to help, and display that credibility, like from former clients and from people that you've helped in the past. It's incredibly important to have that place, that one home where everything sort of exists and is sort of a hub for, it's sort of like your primary doctor. You have all these specialists, right, out like that are like on the satellites, but your website, your home is like your primary doctor, where everything gets kept in one safe space that you have control over. Because you don't have control over social media. You can be kicked off of any social media platform and lose all of your content at any given moment for any reason, and they don't need to justify it. So your website is the place that you own, that you have control over, and people can go to find you very easily.
Yeah, that's excellent. An excellent point. And I've never heard anyone put it quite as clearly as you did. Which also makes me think of another question related to that. So how do you advise, because I do run into this myself, people who are doing um another company, right? So they have access to, so it's that company's website and their name at the end, right? They don't own the website. They're just using it because they're using that product. Do you still recommend people create their own?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody needs to establish their expertise in their own place where they own it, where they own the content and control it. Um, I think it's great when people are consultants for other companies and selling products for that company, but you still need to have a place for yourself where you're representing yourself the way you want to be represented online, and not necessarily what the company is telling you to do.
You're absolutely right. And it's also an issue of branding, right? I think when we do those kind of allegiances, sometimes it's difficult to suss out what is our brand. But at the end of the day, we are. And having that website where, yeah, maybe you work with this company, but you also work with this one, or even just saying I'm an expert in these fields,
Yeah.
right? Would be super. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I've seen it happen so many times, particularly to designers, when they've worked with a company for so long, and they get caught up in a round of layoffs, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have 10 years of work and nothing to show for it. Um,
Uh,
you need
yeah,
to have control over that online presence for yourself and have
right,
something separate that's not completely wrapped up in the company that you're working for.
right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Super valid. That is great advice. I hope everyone heard that because that was definitely a gold nugget. So, if people wanted to get in touch with you and find out about the Scene program or more how to work with you, how would be the best way for them to contact you?
So they can get on my website, it's beckyhancock.design. There are links there that go to my portfolio, talks all about my process for the done for you scene method. And there's also a link to the Scene Academy landing page where they can read all about the Scene Academy.
Okay, cool. And then you have a free gift. So 6 months to live exercise.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that will help people find their clarity.
Yes, it will help you find your clarity really quickly. If you know what's important to you, if you're going to die in 6 months, what exactly is, what do you want to do today? What are those things that are important to you? And that becomes like your homing device. Like if all these little extra things that are distracting me have nothing to do with my sole purpose, then, you know, you can clearly X all those things off your list and completely ignore them and come back to the things that really do matter to you.
Right? And yeah, there's some other gold nuggets, right? Because I think we tend to forget and think that we have all the time, and really all we have is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, we have a link for that, and it's free. And we will put that in the show notes so you can grab that resource from Becky. Any parting words you'd like to say, Becky, before we wrap it up here?
No, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your invitation. This was a lot of fun, and it was great to
Yeah,
talk to you again.
yeah, absolutely. It's always a joy to have you in my world. And we will catch you on the next episode of Powerful on Purpose podcast.